The air grows colder as we approach the end of the pier. This is the harbor of Åsgårdstrand in Norway. It's an idyllic fishing village where time seems to have stopped. I can feel the wind whipping my hair across my face and hear the cries of seagulls as they squabble over fish scraps. A light fog blankets the water and the scent of brine and salt hangs heavy in the air. As I gaze out at the endless expanse of the North Sea, I can't help but shiver. There's something about this place that feels unsettling, like a secret lurking beneath its picturesque charm. But it's here at the edge of the world that a curse seems to have taken root, twisting the lives of those who come too close. Welcome to this house. Today we are exploring the curse of Åsgårdstrand. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an exciting episode. In 1893, Edvard Munch began searching for a place away from the noise of the city where he could paint in peace. He had heard about the small coastal town of Åsgårdstrand and its unpolluted nature and decided to buy a house there. And though many people thought him mad to purchase such a remote property, he saw it as a sanctuary. The house still stands today, much as it did when Munch first laid eyes upon it, with its white walls, red roof and windows like watchful eyes peering out at the sea. Stepping inside, I am greeted by a dim oil lamp casting long shadows on the wooden floors. The smell of salt and seaweed drifts in through an open window, mingling with the musty scent of old canvas and paint. Above me, the ceiling slopes dramatically down, creating a cozy yet intimate atmosphere. It feels as though Munch himself might emerge from the shadows at any moment to greet me or perhaps warn me of the darkness that lingers within these four walls. Munch spent every summer in the house from 1893 until 1910, finding solace and inspiration in the raw beauty of its surroundings. During this time, he created some of his most famous works, including two versions of the Scream, one of which is now hanging above the fireplace in this very room. But as the years passed, the tranquility of Essex Green Strand began to unravel, revealing a darker side that would forever tarnish its reputation. The first shadow to fall across Munch's idyllic retreat was the tragic death of his sister Sophie. She had always been a bright light in his life, but her battle with mental illness grew increasingly severe. In 1860, she began to experience auditory hallucinations, hearing voices that drove her to the brink of madness. These voices whispered terrible things to her, driving a wedge between her and reality. On New Year's Eve, as the clock struck midnight, Sophie succumbed to her demons and took her own life. Her passing left a gaping hole in Edvard's heart, and he grappled with feelings of guilt and despair. Could he have done more to help her? The tragedy shook him to his core, leaving an indelible mark on his psyche that would forever alter his view of the world. It was around this time that Munch began to explore themes of death and despair in his art, a stark departure from the more idyllic landscapes that had initially captured his attention. The vibrant colors gave way to haunting shades of blue and yellow, reflecting the turmoil in his soul. Faces twisted in agony, reaching out from the depths of anguish. His paintings became a visual representation of his inner turmoil, a desperate attempt to give form to the formless abyss of grief. He poured his heart and soul into his work, seeking solace in the creative process and sharing his torment with the world. Through his art, Munch gave voice to the voiceless, immortalizing the tragedy of Sophie's passing and capturing the essence of human suffering in all its rawness and despair. His sister's death cast a long shadow over him and his art, influencing many of his most iconic pieces, including The Scream. But the tragedy didn't end with Sophie. In 1875, Munch's mother, Laura, passed away from breast cancer. He had been deeply affected by her illness, and her death only intensified his fascination with the macabre. And then in 1908, his close friend and fellow artist Christian Krog's wife, Millie, died suddenly from the Spanish flu. These profound losses shook Munch to his core, fueling his artistic expression while simultaneously plunging him deeper into a world of darkness and despair. As if fate were intent on tormenting Munch, even his closest companion, his dog, did not escape the clutches of untimely demise. In August of 1908, just as Munch prepared to embark on a well-deserved vacation, he noticed that his loyal canine companion had fallen ill. At first, it was just a slight fever, but it quickly escalated into a full-blown illness that seemed to sap away the dog's vitality with each passing day. Despite Munch's best efforts to nurse the dog back to health, it was clear that something sinister was at play. And as the weeks dragged on, his beloved pet's condition worsened. With a heavy heart, Munch realized that his furry companion was fading away from him, and on September 4, 1908, his worst fears were confirmed. The dog's suffering came to an end, and Munch was left to grapple with yet another devastating loss. It was during this period of profound grief that Munch's world truly began to unravel, leading him to seek solace in the depths of his art. Haunted by the specters of those he had lost, he channeled his pain and anguish onto the canvas, giving form to the intangible agony that consumed him. In doing so, he created haunting masterpieces that continue to resonate with audiences today, capturing the essence of loss, despair, and the fragility of life itself. Throughout the years, Åsgårdstrand had borne witness to a series of inexplicable and tragic events. A Norwegian naval officer named Henrik Wyam took his own life in the town. Later, two young sisters, Gina and Anna Rasmussen, met their untimely demise in a fire. As rumors spread, the townspeople began to whisper of a curse hanging over Åsgårdstrand, tainting the serenity of its shores and stealing the lives of its inhabitants. Fear took root, and the once peaceful community became shrouded in superstition and dread. And as if to validate their fears, more tragedies struck. A local resident named Jens Jensen was found dead in his home under mysterious circumstances. Then in 1909, another young girl named Matilda Anderson perished in a fire, adding to the mounting body count. The whispers grew louder, echoing through the narrow streets and along the windswept coast. Was there a malevolent force at work, preying on the souls of those who called Åsgårdstrand home? Or were these events mere happenstance, a cruel trick of fate? In 1910, Munch decided to move away from Åsgårdstrand, seeking new horizons and a fresh perspective in his art. Yet as he packed his belongings and prepared to leave, a sense of foreboding settled over him. Had he allowed the shadow of tragedy to eclipse his creativity? Could he truly escape the haunting presence that seemed to permeate every corner of Åsgårdstrand? With a heavy heart, he bid farewell to his beloved haven, carrying with him the memories and the pain that had become inextricably linked to this place. Upon his departure, a local newspaper article hinted at a dark secret lurking beneath the surface of Åsgårdstrand, suggesting that a cursed spirit might be preying on the minds of those who resided there. This chilling revelation only added fuel to the fire, solidifying the town's reputation for misfortune and leaving those who remained in its grasp to wonder if they too would succumb to its sinister influence. Munch continued to paint throughout his life, but his later works lacked the vibrancy and joy of his earlier pieces. Instead, they were dominated by a somber tone and haunting imagery, often featuring distorted figures and muted colors. It was as though a dark cloud had descended over his art, mirroring the turmoil and tragedy that had become synonymous with Åsgårdstrand. As I stand in the very spot where Munch once stood, gazing out at the seemingly placid waters of Åsgårdstrand, I cannot help but feel a sense of unease. For beneath the surface of this idyllic town, a dark and haunting narrative unfolds. The tragic deaths, the unexplained occurrences, and the lingering presence of sorrow and despair weave a chilling tale that echoes through the ages. While reason may dictate that these events were merely a cruel twist of fate, the whispers of a curse continue to resonate. Whether we choose to believe in the supernatural or not, there is no denying the profound impact these events have had on the very essence of Åsgårdstrand. The story of Edvard Munch and his tumultuous relationship with this enigmatic town serves as a reminder of the fragility of the human psyche and the enduring power of tragedy. As I turn to leave, the wind picks up, carrying with it the sound of waves crashing against the shore and the faint echo of a mournful cry. I shiver, not from the cold, but from the realization that I have just witnessed the haunting legacy of Åsgårdstrand. What do you think? Is there a curse on Åsgårdstrand, or are these events just a terrible coincidence? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're there, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an exciting episode. I would also like to take a moment to say a special thank you to our supporters whose names you can see on screen right now. I'll see you next time.